I'm never quite ready to start these like I try to be. It's such a series of processes for me to try to start these videos. Hello, everyone. Not everyone, but hello, YouTube. Yeah, in case you can't tell, little stressed out right now. That's nothing new, but today especially, I can just feel my cortisol levels just, I don't think they could be any higher than they are, although I'm sure that's probably possible. So I should probably just apologize for this stream in advance. I might not be in the best mood for doing this today. It's rare. It's been a rare thing for a while now for me to be able to come out on Thursdays because, yeah, I've mentioned quite a few times before, and even in the title yesterday for my video from yesterday, that I've been for a while at the club that I work at. I've been doing 4 10-hour shifts back to back from Sunday to Wednesday. So obviously after doing that on Thursday, I'm usually not feeling up for much on Thursday, or honestly the rest of the week usually. But I wanted to try to come out today because the sun was out today, and it still is, which is nice. But I think tomorrow and Saturday we're supposed to get snow here where I am. So I was really trying to push myself to come out today because, yeah, I most likely will not be doing so the next couple of days until most likely Sunday, you know, because that's when I usually start my work week. And yeah, also I would not say that I had an uneventful shift at the club last night. You know, a few things happened that I wanted to include in. I knew that during that shift, I was like, well, there's stuff happening that I'm going to want to include and talk about in my next video. So rather than trying to squeeze that in before my shift on Sunday, you know, of course, I'll still try to do a video on Sunday before my shift if I'm able to squeeze that in. I usually do try to do that pretty much before the start of all of my shifts when I'm able to. But because I am just feeling so stressed out, especially lately, and I am going to be, next week is going to be like really my PMS week. Like I'm supposed to start my period next week, and I can already feel the PMS like now for sure. So I just wanted to like be able to try to talk about some stuff that I wanted to talk about now in advance, so that Sunday it's more of like, so basically I won't be as upset on Sunday if I'm unable to find the time to do a video on Sunday. I really hope that I am going to still be able to, but we'll see. So my video from yesterday, it looks like it did post okay. But yeah, I've been talking a lot lately about how lately especially, and for a while now, I've had a lot of issues with my streams uploading properly as videos for my channel. So I was very happy and relieved to see that my video from yesterday does seem to have processed and uploaded properly, you know, the full thing with audio and all that. Yeah, I was definitely, I mean, I always am when that's the case, of course. But honestly, I think part of the reason for that is probably, I think that I had lipstick smeared on my face. I was wearing black lipstick in that video, and it's kind of weird because I did watch that video back. Well, not the full thing. I think I still have to watch back the last 20 minutes or so of that. I watched most of it back so far earlier this morning after my shift. I never know if I should say last night or this morning because it was like early morning hours at this point. So yeah, the morning, since I did stay till close again last night, like I was intending to. So yeah, I was wearing black lipstick. At the start of the video, I don't remember noticing any smudge on my face from that lipstick. But at some point, like maybe halfway through, I noticed there was like maybe I had smudged the black lipstick, so I had this weird like black stain on my face. And I don't remember at any point that I was watching in that video so far, like how that would have happened, like when I would have maybe accidentally smudged that to have it go like on my cheek or whatever. But yeah, it seems like the more I like a video or think that I do, the less likely it is to post okay. So the more, like, the worse I look, the the worse kind of mood that I'm in, the more boring or repetitive or annoying the topics are that I'm talking about, the less I like a video, the more likely it is to upload, unfortunately. So, but I'm a very silver lining kind of person. So silver lining for that is I want to try to stress myself out, or like feel stressed, less stressed about when I do a bad job on here, or like feel like I'm messing up or like doing a crappy job. You know, um that's the upside. If I feel like a video like just ends up being crappy, then so I'm like thinking like, okay, so let's try to have this video be terrible, which I'm sure it's probably going to be anyways, because yeah, I'm just feeling very stressed out today. Honestly, I probably shouldn't have gone out. I'm so torn. It's like I'm just one of those people where I feel like no matter what I do, I really can't win with things. Because on the one hand, I'm usually like proud of myself when I'm able to still go out on my days off from the club. Like push myself to do that, especially in the wintertime. But my intentions going out today were to go to the gym. Well, to go to Walmart and then go to the gym and then do my video on here. I did not go to the gym. And yeah, I also went to the Dollar Tree after Walmart, and so the stuff that I got, I was originally intending to go to Walmart to get two things, like healthy, like diet friendly stuff. And they got me yet again with the other things that I saw there. So the stuff that I ended up getting at both Walmart and Dollar Tree I got a lot of junk food yet again. I've been really, really bad about that lately, and just pretty much this entire winter. I haven't been to the gym one time this entire winter. I mean, obviously, like, I talk a lot in my videos about how I try to be very active at the club. The way that I dance at the club, I mean, my entire experience and the way that I approach being a stripper at the club that I work at, it's not even so much of like a job or a money thing for me. It's more of like a passion and a workout. Like I try to convince myself that I'm trying to be like an athlete there. Because yeah, I'm pushing 40 at this point and just trying to stay as active as I can. And it really helps for me, like, I'm the kind of person that loves to be able to like knock out two birds with one stone, so to speak. Or for me at the club, it's like a handful of birds, really. But just that environment is just so conducive to me trying to get a workout. There's a 15-foot pole, and dancing is just fun to me. I don't hate going to the gym, but I don't love it. I wish that I did. It's just, like, I really used to, when I was a bit younger years ago, I used to really like going at night when it wasn't as busy. But now I just get more and more anxious about driving at night when it's dark out and stuff. And if I go during the day, it's usually too busy for me and just like honestly smelly. I don't like the smells in there. I just get very overwhelmed, like very just uncomfortable. I don't like being around that many people, especially outside of the club where it's not like, in the club, I like when it's dark, or as long as it's not like too dark. There's so many different ways to have the lighting in the club. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. Like, I was being really good about the gym this last summer, but I honestly don't intend to do that again this summer. It's just not worth it for me. Summer here where I am, it's 2 months, July and August, and then it's over and it's back to cold weather. So yeah, where I am, it's cold and wintry most of the year, pretty much like 3/4 of the year. 6, 7, almost 8 months really. It's freezing cold here. And yeah, I don't put the heat on in my apartment. This is my 4th winter without doing that. So I was doing the stove for a while, I've been mentioning a lot lately, but lately I'm trying to stop putting the stove on as well, to just like not even have any heat source at all in the winter, which is insane. Like that's like being crazy, definitely, but it's just too expensive for me. And yeah, because I don't approach being a stripper as a way to try to make money, because that stresses me out and just bugs me too much, I definitely suffer the consequences of that, you know. My quality of life, there's not much of that really. But I am very thankful for the parts of it that are, you know, decent and okay. I'm honestly, like, the sun was out today and I was driving, and it was just one of those kind of sunny days where the sun was really just interfering with my ability to try to drive, and like just in my eyes and just feeling too intense. I have this theory, especially during the summer, of course, but I feel like the sun is like getting closer to the earth, or the earth is getting closer to the sun. The sun just feels stronger and more intense and just closer to us the past few years, I've really noticed. I'm sure scientists must know something about that they're probably just not telling us. But yeah, I don't look forward to the summer. I look forward to winter being over finally, but I don't look forward to the summer. Um, Spring, yeah, but then spring is usually so windy too, and like, I'm not a fan of the location that I'm at. The weather around here most of the year, pretty much all the year, is just, but you know, yeah. Right now, I'm parked where there's some kind of shade. So as long as, I love it when the sun's out, when I'm not like directly in it to where it's in my eyes and like just bothering me, you know. I actually thought and started to try to do this video from the parking lot at the Dollar Tree, and the sun was just too much. Like, I could tell that it was probably like gonna overheat my phone, and it was just not good lighting. And I did a video from the Dollar Tree a few weeks ago, and I thought at first it was okay lighting, but then when I watched it back, I was like, wow, that's way too bright on the camera and just weird looking. So anyway, sorry, I know none of this is very exciting or interesting. And when I was watching my video back from yesterday, and when I have been able to watch my videos back lately, I'm like, wow, this really is boring stuff. Very repetitive, very boring. Why would anyone watch this? But I don't know. I feel like depending on people's like lifestyle and situation, like some people might be older and bedbound or sick and like stuck in bed, or, you know, like some people aren't able to go out. Some people, you know, might, yeah, have whatever issue it might be, where they're just kind of bored or lonely or stuck in wherever it is that they are. Injuries that they have to heal from being in bed and stuff like that, you know, to where, like, on my days off when I'm not busy doing other stuff, I like to try to watch, obviously, just like veg out on my laptop and watch stuff, like other stuff on YouTube. And there's so many things that I'm interested in that I come across, but there's one YouTuber in particular that does very long videos. And I always get so excited when I see that they did another one, because I love to watch long videos and like do them and watch them myself. So everyone's different, but yeah, if anybody out there actually would find me interesting at all, like, that's just amazing to me. And like, wow, I wonder why that might be. Oh. So anyways, on to my shift from yesterday. So, and I apologize for this in advance, because yeah, I haven't really looked at my notes like yet, like to try to prepare myself for what I'm going to be talking about. Like, just very tired right now, very stressed out. I had to drive back to the Dollar Tree. I'm at my apartment right now. I just got back, but shortly after I left the Dollar Tree the first time, when I was almost right back at my apartment, that's when I checked the receipt. And I was originally intending to check the receipt like right after I got out of the store, but I forgot. You know, I'm tired. I'm just that kind of thing. So I checked it when I was like stopped at a light when I was almost back here at my place, or my landlord's place, right? And I noticed that the toothpaste that I got was like $5, and normally most of the toothpaste that I thought, or the price that I thought it was supposed to be, was $125. So I was like even at regular stores other than the Dollar Tree, like if I were to get toothpaste at one of the other stores that I go to a lot, it wouldn't be $5. Like I would never spend $5 on toothpaste. Um, in the future, if I ever wasn't able to find a toothpaste under $5, I would just stop brushing my teeth at that point. No, I hope not. I hope I wouldn't do that, but there is a chance of it, unfortunately. Or just like use baking soda or something. Yeah. But I mean, I'm sure someday in the future, baking soda, we'll be lucky to find baking soda for under $5, right? Probably at this point. Or not this point, but you know, the way things seem to be going, inflation just keeps going and going and going into the future, like never seems to stop. But, well, I will say gas prices, I don't want to jinx it, but gas prices have gone down where I am. Although from what I hear, other parts of the country, that might not be the case, or anyway. But it's definitely, I'm very happy to see that here. And yeah, I have been using a lot more gas lately, doing videos from my car, you know, like this time of year in the winter when it's cold, and usually leaving my car on with the heat on and my phone hooked up to the charger and stuff and that kind of thing. So, so I did, after I noticed that I was charged $5 for the toothpaste, I did drive back. I was like, yeah, I can't let that one slide. I couldn't save it for another day. I just had to go back. So I did. And that, you know, obviously stressed me out a little more. But I was able to take care of that. And now I'm back, you know. Oh, it's 4:30 on the dot. Okay, so yeah, since I am at my apartment, or my landlord's apartment, my neighbor just pulled into the driveway a few minutes ago after I had already been parked here for a few minutes, and she's still just in her car, so I'm feeling a little distracted by that. She's pretty friendly. She at this point is really the only one in the building other than me. Granted, there seem to be like maybe a dozen or so other people that live in this building that I'm in. She's really the only one right now that I like talk to, or like I mean, she parks right next to me, so, and we both always try to park in the same spots, like over here. There did used to be another one that I used to text with sometimes, and I haven't heard from her in a while. So yeah, she's really the only one in the building right now that but she's nice, you know. She's always been nice to me, and I do have her number in my phone and stuff. So anyway, so on to my shift from yesterday. Oh gosh, I don't know if I want to say this part right now or not. I guess I might as well. It does stress me out more, like verbalizing the weird stuff that's been happening with my phone and just the issues that I've been having with my YouTube and stuff. Like, I don't like to complain. I mean, well, honestly, yes, I do. I don't love it. I don't know. I like to vent, I guess, because it feels better to try to get stuff off my chest, but like calling attention to negative things, like I don't want to like breed more negativity, you know what I mean? I try so hard to like be as positive as I can try to be with stuff, but I do struggle with a lot of stuff, in case you can already tell. A lot of weird things, you know, happen with me and around me and to me, and so yeah, my phone really lately especially has been just driving me nuts. Like, so I was saying the other day how I wonder if where I plug it in to charge makes a difference with anything, because for a few times recently, when I'm at the club, I will actually plug my phone into the stage to charge, which sounds so weird to me to say, but I've been apprehensive about doing that because I was like, you know, is this stage like a safe place to charge my phone? You know, but Honestly, I think it's my car that's concerning me the most with stuff lately. Because lately, within the past week or so, the radio has been coming on by itself sometimes. But also, so when I got out of the club last night, uh, I did not have a chance to watch my video back at the club. I waited until after my shift when I was back here at my landlord's apartment, to watch it from my laptop. So most of it so far. I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but I know I already said that. I know I repeat everything I say. Anyway, you guys, part of why I repeat things too, though, is because so many of my videos are cut short. So it's really difficult for me to try to remember which parts were kept in the video and which parts were cut out. So that adds to this habit of mine of repeating myself. But so yeah, I was busy at the club last night. Okay, so when I got out of the club last night after the shift was over and I was in my car starting to drive back to here, I did start to watch some of the video back. And when I did that, I plugged it into the charger in my car. So sometimes when I do that, my car won't play the audio from video, and other times it will. I have no idea which. It's not like a separate button I'm pushing. It literally will do it on its own, one way or the other, without me doing anything. All I do is plug it into the charger. And then the audio does come on, but... So usually when I plug my phone in the charger, the radio thing comes on, but if I'm not already watching a video of mine, which I'm usually not, I'm usually just regularly plugging my phone into the charger. Usually what happens, or every time I've noticed, the radio thing comes on, but it'll try to start playing it will start playing the music that I have downloaded on my iTunes. But if I'm already watching a video on my phone, when I plug my phone in, sometimes it will play the audio from the video and other times it won't. I don't remember what it does the other times. Lately it has been playing the audio back from my videos, whereas before it usually did not. And like I said, I can't remember what it did instead at those times, but it just always does different stuff. Like my electronics literally have a mind of their own. It's a very small fraction of me controlling stuff with the buttons, like by choice. And it's a large majority of this stuff seems to just be someone or something else, whether people, a person, or AI, a virus, I have no idea, but something else is taking over the majority of the control of all my electronics. Gang stalkers is a term that I heard for the first time here in my YouTube, go figure. So I don't know. Like, that is one of the weirdest, most concerning concepts I've ever heard of. Like, one of those things where it's like, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you hear about it, you can't unhear about it. I wish I had never come across that term because it's just so disturbing and so concerning to me. And like, why would anybody have time for that or energy for that kind of stuff? Like, that's just way, way beyond awful. But anyway, so I started to watch some of the video from yesterday in my car last night because lately the audio has been playing in my car when I plug my phone in. And so up until then, last night and yesterday was one of those rare times where my phone was actually doing okay. That never lasts for very long. So yeah, yesterday things just seemed to be going smoothly on my phone. My YouTube video went okay. I was able to delete a couple of old photos that I didn't want anymore to try to make a little more storage space. Things weren't freezing up like they have been a lot lately other days and times. So my phone was doing rarely pretty good for most of yesterday and last night, up until I plugged it into my car. And to watch some of that video from earlier on, to listen to it while I was driving back to my place here, my landlord's place. And then shortly after that, all of a sudden I got this pop-up again that I had been getting recently, where it said that I needed to log into my Apple account, and there's two options underneath that. One says not now, and the other one is like to go into your settings to try to do that. So I tried to click not now, and while my phone was still plugged into my car, the screen was frozen. So when I was trying to push the button for not now, nothing happened. The screen was frozen. So at first I was like, okay, I'm probably just gonna have to restart my phone, and yet again with all of that crap. But just to test it out, I tried unplugging my phone from the charger in my car first. I tried unplugging, sorry, I just got a notification at the top of my screen, which is distracting. So I tried God, I tried unplugging my phone from my car first, just to see if that would do anything, and it actually did. I didn't think that it would, but it did. So after I unplugged my phone from the charger in my car, I clicked not now, and that, I guess somehow unplugging my phone from the charger unfroze the screen. So when I clicked not now at that time, it actually worked. And lately in the past, when I've clicked not now, the thing will just keep popping up over and over and over until the screen eventually does freeze or something like that. This time it actually just, I clicked not now and it was okay after that. So again, the inconsistencies with this stuff is beyond frustrating, beyond confusing, beyond frustrating. Like, it really does make me not want to bother with my phone and that kind of thing, but I don't want to go that route just yet. For now, I'm telling myself I'm gonna keep trying to just do the best I can with it, you know. Like other stuff, you know. Difficult, frustrating, but I'm just gonna keep trying to do the best I can. So I guess it is weird to me that my car would be the place to be the most concerned, it seems about where I plug my phone into charge. So I guess, I don't know if it's like the satellite thingy on top of the roof of my car. If somebody is actually able to hack into that, that is obviously very concerning. So yeah, when it comes to the concept of like gang stalkers or like whatever could possibly be going on with this stuff, there's a big part of me where it's like, you know, they say if like people are trying to like bother you, like just don't acknowledge it. Don't give them the reaction. Don't give them that satisfaction of like reacting to it. Like trolls on the internet, like if somebody says mean stuff to you on the internet, leaves mean comments, like rude stuff and that kind of thing, like there's that saying, not that saying, but that idea that a lot of people will say where it's like, don't give them that satisfaction. Like just don't respond, don't react. That's what they want. That's what they're trying to do, is get a reaction out of you. So don't give them that. But for me personally, you know what? I'll go ahead and give them that satisfaction. Why not? You know, like I like to make people happy. If that makes somebody happy out there, then I'm doing a good job. Then I'm making somebody happy. And you know what I will say also about that? I am somebody that really knows how it feels to work very, very hard at a lot of things and feel like they get very little credit or recognition for it, you know? And that's a crappy feeling. You know, I'm one of those dancers. I feel like I'm honestly the only dancer at the club that I work at, where it's like, I just do all these pole tricks, go upside down the pole, try to talk to people when I can stand to. You know, all these other dancers go on stage, right? I see so many dancers on the shifts that I do go on stage, not go on the pole, just be sexy, just like lay down on the floor and just look sexy and be sexy, and they just get rained on, which is awesome. Like, I think that's great for them, but for me, it's not that great because when I go up there, I never feel sexy. If you ask me the last time that I felt sexy, I don't think I felt sexy or desirable a day in my life. Not one. I can't remember a single time in my entire existence from the moment I was born up until now. I don't think there's ever been a moment where I felt desirable at all. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just not remembering. Like, I want to think there must be like at least a time or two, but nothing comes to mind. Like, I usually feel the exact opposite, treated like crap, you know. So since I don't ever feel sexy, it's very difficult for me to even bother trying to pretend to be sexy when I'm on stage. So I feel like, you know, I need to go on the pole. When I'm on stage, I'm on there to get exercise because my body is always this work in progress where it needs to be improved upon. I need to work my way up. I need to work my way into one day, hopefully finally being decent, like good enough, or even like close to it, like maybe some shred of passable or desirable or sexy or anything positive at all. Like, I just constantly have to try. I've never quite been able to even come close to getting there all the years that I've been a dancer. But since I started as a dancer, that was always like my mindset and goal, because I've always been treated like crap my entire life, like existence really. So, and that obviously shows, of course, like, great, even better to make things, you know, even better with that. So yeah, it's like, I can't go on stage and try to be sexy because I'm not sexy yet. I have to go on stage to try to get a workout, to try to just get as much exercise as possible so that maybe, hopefully someday I will finally be okay for other people to tip. So yeah, I'll go on stage and like do pole tricks, try to like get a workout, whatever. And I just really don't ever get tipped. Every now and then I will, but usually I don't. And when I do, it's usually not much. I feel like I'm basically seen and treated as like the bottom of the barrel, you know? And I'm just so used to that. If you spend your entire life like that, being treated like that by everyone and everything around you, good luck trying to, it would take a whole lot of stuff, I would imagine, to be able to push through that and push past that and fake it till you make it. Like, I know there's like that theory and concept of like creating your own reality, and you have to like project yourself the way you want other people to treat you and blah, blah, blah. I want to think I used to try that more. Like, at some points, I at least tried to do that, and then that didn't work for me. So I dismissed that theory just from my own experience. And instead, now, like with my YouTube and stuff, I'm just like, let me just try to be honest instead and just keep it real as best I can instead, because I'd rather not additionally like stress myself out and feel even crappier by trying to live a lie and just fake everything always constantly. Like, because when I did try doing that in the past, I was still treated like crap and nothing got better. So like, why keep, you know what I mean? Like, why keep trying to like live a lie that like you can't stand, that I can't stand that feeling of like, you know what I mean? So it's like, why keep trying to push myself to do that if it's not even working, or if it's not even having any kind of positive effect or benefit? I feel I would be so amazed if there could ever be any point in the future where like this would ever get better for me, because it's been 37 years, pushing 38 of this for me. So it's like, yeah, how do you time if you've never experienced anything else? How do you finally fix that or break through it? Or how if anybody would be able to do that kind of thing, like, hats off to them. That would be incredible. Maybe like, well, okay, I also have a quote for myself where it's like, never let how other people treat you affect or determine how you treat yourself. So I still try to treat myself pretty well, like as best I can. Like, I do eat a lot of junk food and, like, just crap and beat myself up about it, but that's mostly just, like, an expense thing, like, it's cheap usually, or not cheap, nothing's cheap these days, but it's I don't know, I really don't even wanna get into that right now, like, it is what it is, I don't know, but, like, yeah, I try not to beat myself up about it too much, like, I still try to be pretty healthy, like, overall, um I'm not one of those people that would say that I hate myself, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't consider myself a masochist. Other people seem to wanna treat me like I am. Like, I just have, like, with my phone and my YouTube and stuff, like, I just have no control over anything. Any other people or something else is always gonna be the one to control everything for me and make all the decisions. Like, I just feel like I have no say or no power with anything. No control, no, just nothing really. Like, a lot of times at the club, not a lot of times, but recently, or, like, on my YouTube too, like, when I wear necklaces like this, like, some people would consider these necklaces because they're, like, tight to the neck. They would be like, "Oh, you're wearing a choker, like, are you owned by somebody?" And, like, what are you talking about? Like, that's also one of the weirdest concepts I've ever come across. Like, I could never take anything seriously enough to even consider, like, I mean, we're all owned by the government, aren't we? So that's enough for me. Like, when I was younger, it was my parents and teachers at school that forced me to do things that I didn't wanna do all the time. I never really had a say or control over most of any of that. Now that I'm an adult, it's always been bosses with other jobs, or just the government, or, like, I wouldn't register my car if I didn't have to. I wouldn't get car insurance if I didn't have to. I wouldn't most of the stuff that I, like, you know what I mean? There's so many things that I definitely wouldn't do if I didn't have to, so I'm owned in that way. But as far as, like, an additional person, like, I guess marriage is also, like, a form of that, like, especially for females, like, our last names don't mean anything. They never have, and apparently they never will. Or they mean they're just for the guy. So they mean that, but they don't really, like, mean anything else, it seems. So yeah, I mean, but I've never been married, so no, I'm not owned by a person. But when people, like, say stuff like that to me, like, they seem to just say it so, or, like, in person at the club, like, but even in the comments, but especially in person, like, they seem to, like, take that stuff so seriously, and I'm like, I don't wanna, like, knock that if that's what you're into, but it's just kind of, like, interesting and bizarre to me, like, I'm like, "No, like, can't I just wear a necklace without it having to, like, be so symbolic and serious?" Like, and when I do wear the black lipstick, like I was wearing in my video yesterday and a few of my videos that I've done, sometimes people will be like, "Oh, are you emo or are you goth?" And I'm like, "What does that even mean? Like, am I emo?" I guess maybe based on what I talk about and trying to be honest as a stripper about, like, struggling and just whatever, maybe that would be seen as, like, alternative, but I just don't really like labels like that. Like, it's just kinda weird to me too, like, anyway, I just find that stuff kinda funny. Like, I usually approach things from a humorous point of view, or like I usually just laugh at stuff, like, even stuff that bothers me and stresses me out. My natural, like, obviously, yes, I get upset about the stuff that bothers me and stresses me out, but, like, my other natural reaction and my, like, defense, my natural built-in defense to that is just to laugh, like, to just try to make light of it as best I can, or just it's all just stupid to me. Like, most things are just silly and stupid to me, like, this is also obnoxious. Like, most things seem very obnoxious to me, including myself, including all of my videos, including everything that I talk about, including myself, so, like, everything pretty much. Anyway, so sorry. Just me being honest, like, what are you gonna do? So I think that's most of what I have written on this vegetable wrapper. A lot of times the notes that I'll take will be, like, labels torn off of cans of, like, canned goods, like, canned items. So that's what this is. What? Mm. Mm. All right, that was most of this thing. There's one other thing towards the bottom. I might get to that later. So yeah, clearly I haven't even gotten into most of the stuff about my shift yesterday. I was just thinking I should check the timestamp, but now I'm like, oh, do I remember what time I started this video? 40 minutes. Sure, why not? Gosh. All right, so my shift yesterday. Let's see what I have here. I'm too tired to start that off the top of my head. I think I mentioned, obviously the stuff that I mentioned from my phone, that was after my shift. So now I want to get into my actual shift. Oh, but real quick also, besides just being like owned by the government and just life's many crappy things, I'm a slave to the rhythm. I'm owned by the music. I really am though. Oh, because that was part of what I was going to say about my shift yesterday. Going into the club yesterday, I was not feeling well. And I don't think I had been feeling well the shift before that, or the day and the night before that. And so yeah, yesterday was Wednesday, but even on Tuesday going into that shift, I was like, I said in that video too, I was like, I'm going to try to take it easy tonight. Like, I'm going to try to just, and I didn't do that like I was intending to on Tuesday. And then it was kind of the same thing yesterday on Wednesday. I went into that shift like, oh, I didn't take it easy like I said I would yesterday and last night, but I'm going to try to do it today instead. And same thing, I still didn't end up doing that. So what I should have tried to do and what I was intending to try to do yesterday at the start of my shift after my video was to just go on stage, and usually I will try to start my time up there like just stretching and like warming up and that kind of thing, so to speak. But I am a slave to the rhythm and a slave to the music, as they say. So the music that just so happened to be playing for those times, like pretty much the entire start of my shift, was very very I'm sorry, excuse me. I am wearing a corset. You guys probably can't. It's underneath, but yes. So the music was very fast and upbeat and had like that fast kind of tempo. So sometimes I can like override that and force myself to not follow that rhythm and just stretch anyways. Other times I just can't do it and I have to follow the music and just go with the beat. So that was yesterday. I just couldn't hold myself back, and I was dancing the way that the music was. So I was dancing fast because the music was fast, and I was getting a good workout, which I do love to do, because that's, yeah, it's so difficult for me to try to, I feel like I'm also kind of a slave to my own, obviously we're all slaves to our own body. Like, I'm a slave to my body. Like, my body demands things and I have no choice but to do my best to give it what it needs and demands, so it just needs stuff to survive. That's just the way bodies are. So, but it's like, I find it very difficult. Like I was saying earlier, I haven't gotten to the gym at all this winter. I'm not really crazy about going there. Like, I wish I could be. So it's and my days off from the club, I just want to be in bed, honestly. I just want to veg out and like not move a muscle if I can. just be a vegetable, like not literally, but just relax, So it's very difficult for me to try to push myself to get exercise when I'm not at the club. Whereas when I'm at the club, that's just that kind of environment. It's just very, again, conducive to, for me, just getting an exercise that I actually can enjoy finally. It just naturally happens like that for me. The pole being right there, with the 15-foot pole, and then the main stage is pretty big. And a lot of times the music that's playing is just great for the way that I like to dance. It's the right tempo, it's the right beat. Um, it works really well for me. So with those factors just being like that, with that, and being the case, it just makes sense to me to try to go with that, because again, it's so difficult for me to try to do anything but just lay in bed on my days off, because I don't know, it's just, yeah, it's a certain style of music, it's a certain tempo, but when a lot of times lately that it's been the right music for me at the club. And I used to think it was just my favorite manager that knew what to do with that, or like previous DJs from the past. But even because I've been listening to the radio at my apartment a lot more lately, and in doing that, I'm realizing there's actually a lot of songs and a lot of genres and varieties of music and music. Or yeah, did I just say music and music? I'm tired. There's just a lot of varieties of songs and music, a lot of genres, a lot of varieties, where if it's the right tempo and the right beat, that will trigger it. I'll be able to get into that kind of dancing that I like to do. So, and yeah, I mean, usually it's just on stage at the club that I'm able to do that, but lately with the radio on in my apartment, I've been able to do it a little bit there too, just to try to like do a little something on my days off, or like warm myself up, But anyways, let me take another quick peek here. Yeah, but so I try to have that be mostly a positive thing, but what I had also written down to kind of like another side of that is it is very risky for me doing that on stage at the club a lot of times. Like, I mean, pretty much any time, but there are certain times where I notice that more and I'm worrying about it more, and just it's really weighing heavy on my mind, like, because on stage there'll be varying levels of intensity for like the lights especially, and yeah, the music too, but just other factors with things, and like depending on how I'm feeling at the time, or how much sleep that I'm going on or not, usually that kind of thing. So yeah, this week I've had some injuries, like with my wrists and my shoulder and stuff, and even my ankles have been hurting. I mean, honestly, both of my shoulders, both of my wrists, both of my knees, and both of my ankles they've all been injured throughout my years of dancing. So it's very common that it'll be one or the other of a lot of those different things acting up at any given time. It's kind of rare that I'll just not be noticing at least one of those things, like one side of something, you know what I mean? If not multiple things, but excuse me. So yeah, lately stuff has been sore and acting up. So I've been thinking more and like worrying more about like the risks that I'm taking on stage and stuff. And also they've installed new lights at the club recently. So the new lights they were already so intense before, but the new ones are just adding on to that intensity and increasing the levels of intensity even more than it already was. So, but I've still really been pushing myself to try to get a good workout, because also, yeah, spring is eventually going to be on its way. We want to think around here. So I'm kind of trying to tell myself like, all right, like, try to get back in shape a little bit and that kind of thing. So obviously, like, the more I'm able to exercise at the club, I'd want to think that would help out with that kind of thing. But how did I put this when I wrote it down? Yeah. I do also kind of feel like a slave to my own body, but also trying to keep it in shape, I guess, as a stripper, as best I can anyway, and exercise myself. But it is really difficult, because yeah, it's usually most of the year here where I am, it's usually very, very cold, like extremely so. Um, that's just the weather, that's just the environment that I'm in with that kind of thing. So, I mean, things like diet and exercise are said to already be difficult just in the general sense for a lot of people. Like a lot of people are said to and do seem to struggle with that kind of stuff. But I always wonder sometimes, like, what about people that do live in Florida or in warmer climates? Like, because the concepts and like of diet and exercise, they're so heavily emphasized, and they're like in the media so much, like they're so common, they're such like popular topics, it seems. But it's like people never really seem to talk much about, like, well, where are you living exactly? Like, where are you located? Are you in an extremely cold climate, or are you in southern Florida? Or are you, like in a warmer place? Because that's got to factor into stuff for some people, like, and how difficult it is for them to try to, you know, maintain a relatively decent fitness level. Or obviously I know that me not putting the heat on in my apartment makes it that much more difficult for me, but I can't afford to do that. Like, I don't have an income really. I'm just living off savings, so it's like, yeah. I guess in conclusion for that topic, I feel I'm definitely a slave to my own body. So I'm a slave to my own body, but I'm still not owned by myself. I'm definitely owned by something or something else, possibly gang stalkers or whoever's been messing with my phone, or maybe even just AI at this point. Maybe I'm owned by AI, probably. I'm just like an app. My consciousness has, unaware to my own self, my consciousness has been uploaded to the cloud, or uploaded to something with AI or by AI or with AI or for AI or to AI. And other people are just hacking into that. Who knows at this point? 2026, like, where are things really going to go from here? Because it's already so mind-boggling and confusing and stressful to me, where it's like, I really don't want to know. I do, but I don't. But I think mostly I don't at this point. Like, I'm pretty sure I was born into the wrong time period, or I'm currently in the wrong time period for how I don't know. I don't know, but it's all very strange and confusing to me. Overwhelming for sure. Very bizarre, very bizarre. So my shift yesterday, so I was going ham. I was dancing around the stage very quickly, very fast for most of the start of that shift. And I was really kind of, worrying about that and concerned, and like trying to tell myself like to cool it a little bit, and to, because I hadn't been feeling well, and it was my 4th 10-hour shift in a row kind of thing. I've had some injuries lately and that kind of stuff. But I was kind of a little bit, I was happy with myself for getting the workout, obviously, but I was a little bit mad at myself for, like, I wasn't really too sure how to feel about it. You know what I mean? It was like, but I was really proud of myself for having the ability, I don't know if ability is the word, but I at least was able to be aware, like self-aware, or just aware enough of my surroundings and stuff like that, of the risk that I was taking and that kind of thing. So the music was still really fast, and I wanted to keep dancing with the music, but I was able to, so most of the time I was doing that, but I was able to stop doing that and put a pause on it when I noticed there was a shift change. So I usually get into the club, I sign in at 4, and then sometimes, depending on when I'm able to stop my video or end my stream, because usually I'm doing a stream before, like, right around the time I get to the club. So if I am able to wrap up my stream before I sign into the club at 4, then obviously I'll go into the club at 4. Sometimes I'll not be able to do that and be finishing up my stream shortly after I sign into the club, so then I'll get in around 5. But so night shift at the club starts at 7 p.m. So that's when the shift change is from day shift to night shift. And so I was going ham on stage for a couple of hours, probably until 7. And then right around 7 is when one of the other managers, like the shift changed. So one of the other managers was going into the DJ booth. And this manager in particular, I've noticed, is one of the people especially that will, I mean, I've honestly seen almost all of them do this probably, but like just employees in general, DJs, employees, managers, etc. Whoever goes into that DJ booth, most people seem to do this kind of thing. But with her, I've definitely noticed her doing it, like, especially. So I've noticed where she'll just change the lights abruptly, like mid-song, or like, for a lot of dancers, that might not be as much of an issue if they're just like doing floor work. Or for me, the way that I was dancing and the way that I dance a lot, like really, really fast all around the stage, if somebody changes the lights or the music mid-song just very abruptly and very dramatically, that can totally throw a person off. And yeah, especially the way that I dance. So I'm always really, really anxious about that, and like really just trying to be mindful of that. Because I have actually, one of the injuries that I've had lately with my wrist, that was caused by one of the DJs in the past doing that and abruptly changing the lights when I was dropping down from the pole into a split. So, you know, and I've had other instances where that kind of thing has happened. So anyway, I was able at least to be mindful enough when she went into the booth. I was like, okay, instantly I just stopped. And the music was still going. The music was still very fast paced and very upbeat. And I really, really liked it and wanted to keep dancing the way that I was for like hours and hours already. So then I was like, all right, stop, pause. It was like, I pushed my own button that time. That time I was able to do it to myself, and like I was the one to push the button myself that time. And I'm so glad that I did. She actually didn't change the lights that time, go figure. Probably because she realized I just went down onto the floor and started to like just do very simple, slow stretches and like floor work moves. Just totally different. And I was like fighting myself because the music was just, I wanted so bad to get back up and just keep dancing again, you know, the way that I had been. But anyway, so I was proud of myself for that. But then also, yeah, I don't think she likes me very much. Then again, I don't really think that anybody there does, but she is also a manager that told me recently that I should just do day shifts rather than night shifts. I didn't really have a response for that, but you know, I was a little offended when she said that. Yeah, right. I mean, no, I was offended, but like, yeah, right, I'm gonna do that. I mean, I'll do a day shift here and there, but the most recent day shifts that I had been doing were specifically only because of the manager that had been working at that time. Normally, that's not my thing. Otherwise, you know, like, no thanks, no thank you. No. Or like, also, like if I were to just do a day shift from time to time, it would be to stretch, and to stretch only. Not to deal with the guys that go in there at the time. No. Oh gosh. So yeah, oh, and you know what? She is also the manager. Okay, so I've been talking a lot in my recent videos. Well, honestly, I've mentioned this in just a lot of my videos in general, but I've been talking about it again more lately because a DJ that I used to work with and used to have some issues with has been coming into the club again more lately. he actually was in again last night, and last night was the 3rd night in a row that I saw him there. So up until recently, I hadn't really seen him for a while. And it's also rare that I would see him 3 nights in a row like that, which I think is kind of weird and possibly a little concerning because, yeah, him and I did have some issues in the past. So this manager that was going into the booth at shift change yesterday, that told me I should just do day shifts or whatever and that kind of thing. She was also a manager that I spoke with. She was actually the first person that I told about the issues that I was having with some of the DJs that used to work at the club. The issues that I was having with 2 of the DJs that used to work at the club, that stuff was going on for many, 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 many years. And like I know I do talk about it a lot in my channel now, but I think part of that is because for so long, I wasn't sure if I was ever going to be able to talk about it. And, you know, the situation that was going on was pretty extreme, it felt like for me, and still does. Like, it was really, really bad for me and really affecting me, causing me a lot of problems and a lot of trauma, really, and just still to this day. So for me to be able to finally talk about it after all those years, it's a very big thing for me. But the first person that I tried to talk to about it was this female DJ that I'm referring to. And when I first tried to like kind of mention it to her, that was many years ago, but it was also many years after the situation had already been going on. And I don't think she didn't really have much of an input or much that she said about it when I first, or like, you know, when I talked to her about it or tried to. But I thought it was kind of interesting because, you know, again, sorry, I know I've been saying this a lot lately, but it would be difficult for me to try to say the stuff that I'm saying in this video without me re-saying some of this. Like, it's just how it is. So, the issues that I was having with those DJs was largely this smoke stuff they use at the club, and the DJs were abusing that situation. You know, like to get tips out of me and just to mess with me and that kind of stuff. So basically, because I told that female manager about that eventually, like after years of it already going on, she probably knows about me not liking that smoke stuff, and I'm very allergic to it and stuff like that. And I also just have a lot of trauma response to it because of the issues that I was having with the DJs in the past and how much they were abusing that situation. She was also the manager that when she said that I should just do day shift, that was more recently, a few weeks ago, I'm pretty sure. And when she said that, it was when I was asking her whether or not they were using the smoke as much on the weekends, because that smoke situation, that smoke stuff comes and goes a lot of times, it seems. Like lately, this past week, they've been using it a lot on the shifts that I've been doing, which are the slower shifts. Whereas up until just this past week, normally they didn't used to do that for a while. But, oh, a squirrel, it's been a while since I've seen a squirrel. Normally that would cheer me up more, but this is kind of tough still for me to try to talk about. So, God, I'm so tired. I wish I could rewind and be like, wait, what was I just saying? Yeah, the smoke stuff comes and goes, and it's also really stressful for me because I never know when it's going to be on, and I'm so allergic to it that it's like, you know, because I pay to work at the club that I work at, it's already a big thing for me to try to push myself to go in there and fight that fight that uphill battle that every shift is for me there with other stuff anyways, regardless. But like for me to go in and push myself to do that and then pay to be there and then just know that I don't even, like, for me to try to decide if I'm going to do a shift or not, I don't know if the smoke's going to be used or not. So if I know in advance, or if I was able to know in advance whether or not it was, that would completely affect my choice and my decision as to whether or not I would do a particular shift or not. But I just never know when it's going to be on. It's very random. I try as best I can to try to do the slower shifts when it's not used as much, but I think that's part of why she said, like, oh, you should just do day shifts, because I'm already trying to do the slower shifts to try to avoid that smoke more, but I don't want to have to go back to pushing myself as far as to just do day shifts for it. Sometimes it almost feels like they're using that smoke to try to force me into doing the crappiest shifts, like the day shifts or the slower night shifts. Whereas really the way that I dance, I am a dancer that goes on the pole. I am a dancer that does pole tricks, and not just occasionally, like all throughout my shifts, unless I'm like on my period or unless I'm under the weather or something's going on like that, unless I have an injury, that kind of thing. Otherwise, most of the time, I'm constantly going on the pole all throughout my shift, and I do 10-hour shifts lately as well. So for me to feel like I'm unable to work Fridays, Saturday nights, or like even Thursday nights, like the busier times, that's really difficult for me, because those are the prime times that might actually be busy. And, you know, I have the kind of skills, the kind of talent to put on that kind of show for that kind of bigger crowd, those bigger crowds for those kind of busier nights. So it is very insulting to me to be kind of feel like they're trying to push me into doing day shifts and the slower shifts, when really my dancing style, I should be doing the Friday and Saturday nights, which I had been able to do and I was doing until they installed that smoke machine years and years ago. And then for her to actually tell me that, like that I should be doing day shifts as well, when I was like, because when she said that, yeah, I was kind of casually asking her, because I had heard recently from other dancers don't like the smoke either, they've told me. So recently I had heard from other dancers that they hadn't been using the smoke as much on the weekends. Again, it always seems to change and like vary a lot. Very difficult for me to try to figure out how things are going to go there with that kind of thing, or with anything really, other than me having a difficult time with things and not being tipped and that kind of stuff. That I can usually predict, because that's pretty consistent, unfortunately. But so yeah, I had heard recently from other people that it wasn't being used as much, that smoke, as of lately. But just to try to get more of a feel for that, a few weeks ago, I was apprehensive, you know, about it, but I did ask that same female manager about it, like, oh, you know, and she said that they were. So I got a conflicting response from her based on what I had heard from other people. And after she said that, she was saying that I should just do day shifts. So anyways, that was, you know, kind of insulting and a little upsetting for me to, you know, get that response. But anyway, so she was also the one that was going into the booth for the shift change yesterday. And shortly after that, she did put the smoke on. So, and actually, okay, so yeah, how it went, well, what the fuck? Oh, sorry. Must be a gang stalker. God. Oh, just interrupting me again. So I went, at first, after she went into the booth for the shift change, shortly after that, there was actually a couple people by the stage tipping other dancers. And so after I noticed that there were people at the stage tipping the other dancers, I was like, oh, that's nice to see. So I went over to the DJ booth to check the whiteboard where they write down the list of the names for how the rotation is and who's going to be on stage next, or like in what order. And my name was not on the list, which I did think was weird because obviously I had already been on shift already for hours up until that point. So, and I was on stage for hours as well up until that point already. So all of a sudden, for me to not be in the rotation to have a turn to go on stage when there's finally people at the stage tipping, that was a little weird, although certainly not the first time this has happened by a long shot. But you know what? I'm trying to practice and work on my fear of confrontation. And I think my YouTube has been helping with that a bit for me to try to like verbalize things and dare to say stuff like this out loud. Although more and more lately, I'm getting the feeling that all the employees at the club are well aware of my YouTube, but I don't want to go there just yet right now because that's no good. Anyway, so I used my voice, and you know, her back was also facing away her back was facing me. Her face and the rest of her front half was facing away from, okay, her back was facing me, towards me. The rest of her was facing away from me. So like her head, like I couldn't see her face, okay? So I had to lean into the DJ booth and like kind of shout over the music, but I was like, hey! And I asked her, I was like, as nice as I could. I was trying to shout in a friendly way, you know? So I was like, hey, you know, like, when I was just wondering when I'm going to be on stage. And she was like, oh, you're going to be after this person. And again, my name wasn't written on the board yet, but she just told me that like I was going to be after a certain dancer. So I was like, okay. And then shortly after that, she put the smoke on. And so that was fun. So then I was like, all right, I'm going to get more practice in with this. So I used my words again, and I went back over to the booth. I mean, after she put the smoke on, there were still a few other dancers in line before me to go on stage. So I had a little bit of time to think about what I was going to try to do. So it wasn't like right away, but shortly later on, you know, a little bit after that, before it was my turn to go on stage, I went back over to the booth and I asked her again. I kind of shouted over the music again. I was like, hey, babe, can you possibly pause the smoke while I go on stage? And I made sure to like not say, like, to choose my words like as well as I could. I didn't ask her to shut it off, you know, because I didn't want to like cause any issues with that. I was like, can you just pause it? I was just like I paused myself earlier when she went into the booth when I was on stage. I was like, can you just pause the smoke while I go on stage, please? And she was like, okay. And she did. And then I did push myself to go on the pole after I went on stage with that. So I was like, I'm not going to let that stuff stop me, you know? So yeah, I went on the pole. But then so the smoke was off while I went on stage and while I went on the pole after that. But then she did put the smoke back on while I was still on stage. At least that time it was when I had already gotten off the pole. Whereas in the past, in the past with stuff like that, there was a different DJ, not even related to the two that I talk about a lot, but a third one, like that's no longer there. And I had worked with him a few times, and he had put the smoke on while I was on the pole, like without warning, like knowing that I don't like it and stuff, that I'm allergic to it. So I've had so many fun experiences with this throughout the years. A lot of trauma that just, you know, builds and builds. It's great. But and for anybody that hasn't already heard me say this before in other videos, I did almost die in a smoky room when I was back in high school, when I was a teenager. So that obviously adds to this too. But I just try to tell myself, I'm like, oh, it's just the club is vaping, you know, it's just Advil in the air. It's just healthy, therapeutical, herbal stuff, whatever I can tell myself. I'm like, you know, it's just Advil. aerated Advil. The club is vaping, whatever I can just come up with, So, yeah. So then the smoke was back on after that. And yeah, she put it back on when I was on stage still, but at least I had gotten off the pole at that point. So I went upstairs to the VIP lounge, and I hate going to it's kind of funny because I hate going to VIP at that club, or I've never been to any other club, but I hate doing actual VIP rooms, but I do love going up to the VIP lounge to hide. Not hide, but like just to chill out. And lately I've been going up there to try to get away from that smoke stuff when it's on. So I did that last night. And then some hours after that, eventually, like a couple hours later, the actual DJ came in. So the female, because that was the manager that had been doing that beforehand. And then usually it's the managers that do the DJ stuff at the shift change. It's like during the day, lately it's AI. Then for the shift change, it's the managers. And then late into the evening, it's like an actual DJ. For the most part, lately that's how it's been, with some variations, of course. But, and yeah, also for the shift change, it's not always a manager. Sometimes it's like somebody else, like an employee, like a floor host, but anybody that goes into that DJ booth can just press any button like at any time and just really mess with people that way. AKA me. But, so when the female DJ got there, all of a sudden, shortly after she got there, the smoke was off. I don't know if she put it off, or I didn't say anything at that time. So that was a surprise to me. And the past couple nights, I was starting to think that it was her putting it on a lot of times when she was there, even though I've heard her say in the past that she doesn't like it. It's all very confusing. It's confusing for me to even try to word this out. Like, wait, what? So, but anyways, while it was off, I noticed this third DJ guy at the club for the third shift in a row. Let me just check my notes to make sure I'm trying to get this, because yeah, this was my fourth shift in a row, and it was also the third shift that I was seeing this DJ guy there at the club. So this is blending together in my brain a lot to where I'm like, wait, which was which time? It's 5:30 on the dot. Okay. All right. So, well, one other thing, going back a little bit, not back, but a little bit, to what I was kind of just saying, before I get into the next little bit. Oh my God, it's so confusing. Like, what? Who cares? But I care, obviously. So when I had been, the time before the female DJ got there, back to the time when I went on stage when the female manager had put the smoke on, the manager didn't put the smoke back on until after I had already gotten off the pole. But even because it was still in the air and still stressing me out, and it just makes it so much more difficult for me to breathe or see even. I remember when I still went on the pole, and I was really proud of myself for that. But when I came down from the pole, I went upside down and did pole tricks and stuff like I normally would. But it also makes the pole that much more slippery. So this smoke stuff that they use, it's an oil-based product. So they're literally pumping oil into the air. I try to tell myself that it's Advil. I try to tell myself that it's a GLP-1 to help me with my diet. But really, it's oil, basically. Like oil mixed with poison, I'm pretty sure. So, So it makes the pole that much more slippery and that much more difficult for me to not, like slip or fall or get hurt. And my left wrist had been hurting a lot pretty recently, like last week and mostly last week. But I remember when I got back down from the pole that time, because the pole was so slippery and because like extra slippery from the smoke, and because I really couldn't see and just was, stressed out and couldn't really breathe. When I got back down from the pole, it just felt different, and I wasn't able to touch down with my feet onto the stage floor like at the same place that I normally would after that series of pole tricks. And so in order for me to get back down to the floor, where my right hand, again, it was my left wrist that had been hurting. My right wrist was hurting a little bit too, but not as much up until, well, yeah. But my right wrist was the one gripping the pole still, and I had to kind of like let it drag down the pole in order for me to touch down onto the stage floor. So it was my left wrist that I had been so worried about, and then my right wrist was a little bit sore too, but not as bad. But then it was my right wrist that was like dragging down on the pole that time. So then I was like, oh crap, tell me I didn't just hurt my right wrist too really bad. Because I have also had very severe wrist injuries with my right wrist in the past. Again, like both my wrists, both my knees, both my ankles, both my shoulders. They've all taken quite a beating, of course, over the years. But you know what, now, like both of my wrists feel fine right now. So that's really what I want to just focus on. And I'm obviously so thankful for. But at the time, I was very, very worried about it when I first got down from the pole at that time and realized that I had just dragged my wrist from the pole like that. And then moments after that, she puts the smoke back on. So that was a fun little combination there. Nice little combo. Anyway, so yeah, later on into the night when the female DJ got there, the smoke was just off, and I don't really know what happened with that because I thought that she had been putting it on earlier this week, but it's also kind of been weird timing where shortly, or like basically right around the same time that I'm noticing the smoke, I'm noticing this DJ guy back at the club, which I used to have all these issues with him with that smoke stuff. And it's just weird to see him there like 3 nights in a row, especially, and also have this smoke 3 nights in a row, to where I'm like, this has got to be like some weird app simulation that I'm stuck in, or either that or all these people are actually human and in cahoots and messing with me this much. Like, what could this possibly be? You know what I mean? Like, this can't just all be coincidence. You know what I mean? Like, it just cannot. There's no way. But anyways, so after the female DJ put the smoke off, I wanted to go back on the pole. And this was actually before I noticed the DJ guy there though. Because in my notes, and I'm remembering, I didn't notice that DJ guy there last night until after I had gone back on the pole. So yeah, the smoke was off at this point. This was probably around 10 or 11 by now, or by then. So I knew that I wanted to go back on the pole again, especially because at this point the smoke was off again. So I even put my headband on. So my headband that I put it like around under my chin and around my head to try to hold my wigs onto my head as best I can, because sometimes my wigs will almost fall off, which is no good. And yes, that has happened before as well, but it's been a little while and I'd like to keep it that way. I'd like to not have that happen again. The times that it had happened before in the past were more than enough and obviously too much to begin with. I wish that had never happened, but it did. Anyway, but it did not happen last night because I put my headband on. And yeah, I mean, I knew, especially because of how extremely slippery the pole was, I was like, I better just put my headband on just in case, as a precaution, and I went back on the stage, back on the pole shortly after, and I did my more difficult series of pole tricks. And I actually noticed when I did that, because in the previous video the day before, I do these pole tricks all the time. But in the previous video the day before, I for some reason I thought that that pole trick was with the pole on my right side. But when I did it last night, I realized it's actually on my left. And the other one, the pole's on my right. So I got them reversed in my mind for some reason, which is weird because you would think doing something over and over, and especially something that, I don't know if extreme is the word, but that dangerous and that stressful and that, like, I have to obviously be very focused and paying extremely close attention to what I'm doing when I go upside down in the pole. And I do it over and over so often, and I have done that so many times throughout the years, that it's like, how would I not know what side of my body the pole is on? Like, even just off the top of my head. But so I did last night. When I did that, I realized, oh, it's actually on the other side than I thought it was, which I thought was kind of interesting. So then I did, yeah, that time, I did my more difficult series of pole tricks, and that's because they're the more difficult ones. Part of why they're more difficult is just because they naturally are for me. And the other part of why, what makes them especially more difficult than the other ones that I do, is because those ones, it's more of an issue where my wigs almost fall off. So I did the more difficult version of the pole tricks. And then as soon as I got back down to the stage after that, that's when I noticed the DJ guy was there. And normally when that DJ guy is there at the club, I try to stay off the pole completely. I try to just move as little as possible and basically do as little as possible. Try to make myself as unnoticeable as possible because, yeah, we have a very weird history that's very, you know, I still have like a lot of trauma response still from that stuff to this day. And I probably will for a while going into the future as well. You know, it feels like, so he hasn't worked at that club for over 3 years now, but it affected me enough, that situation, because up until he stopped working there 3 years ago, before that, we had been working together for many, 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 many years. And yeah, I had that really stressful and difficult situation going on with him and another DJ for, again, very, very many years. Yeah. So I noticed him right after I did that more difficult series of pole tricks. And so that was kind of like, why is he here a third night in a row? You know what I mean? But we haven't spoken, we haven't talked for over 3 years as well. So when I see him at the club, a part of me wants to say hi, but I'm too scared, I guess. You know, I haven't, and I don't intend to, because he never seemed to like me. He actively seemed to really dislike me, if not despise me, really. So, you know, I just don't want to like take any unnecessary risks with trying to say hi to him when I see him there. You know, like, I'm already taking enough risks with stuff there as it is, you know, but anyway. Okay. Gosh. I really, really, really wanted to think this video wasn't going to be this long today. I honestly thought that I was going to be able to not have it be this long. Oh my gosh, 90 minutes. So, oh my gosh. You guys, that was only the first side of the paper. I have a whole other side of the paper right here. Like, I don't want to just put it off till next time, but I can't. We're already at an hour and a half right now. What? There's no way. Oh, great. And my other neighbor, that neighbor that just pulled in, he's the one that I'm pretty sure that's on the other side of the wall of where my place is, my landlord's. One of my landlord's many, many places. So the apartment unit that I've been dwelling in for a while now, he's the one I'm pretty sure that's on the other side, I'm surprised that they were out at all today because normally they're here 24/7. But when they do go out, when they get back, they usually seem to go out and get back around the same times that I do on my days off, or it's very weird. At least I didn't get back like literally right when I started this video, right when I first got back, but it's bad enough because when I wrap this video up eventually at some point, there's again still going to be right there. Like I don't want that. At least I'll just put the radio on like I have been, but oh my god, it's so awful. Anyway, like go do something else, please. God, like how? Oh. So then there's something on this page that I know I'm not going to be able to get to. This little vegetable wrapper. It's so dark in here. I apologize that I honestly thought I was going to be able to do this video before it got dark out. Like, it's unbelievable. I don't understand. I can barely even see this paper. I still want to kind of try to mention this part because I think it's funny. So I'm just gonna, okay. So I flipped on to the second half of the paper at the 90-minute timestamp. So that way I'll know at least if this does get cut short. Obviously, if the whole thing is muted, even better, I'll get to try to say all of this all over again next time, which is, you know, a blast. Okay, so we're starting the second page an hour and a half in. Oh boy, here we go. I'm so tempted to try to save the second half, but it just wouldn't. I don't want to do that. Oh god, this is so frustrating. This is so silly. I'm gonna retire early from YouTube probably soon because it's too stressful. It's fun, but it's like, I just wish anything could work properly in my world ever. Like, that would be so nice. And yeah, again, I'm pretty sure the only reason my video from yesterday actually did okay is because I had lipstick smeared on my face and looked and felt like complete crap. So anyway, not that I don't normally, but especially so in that video. So that's why it worked, I guess. That's why it weirdly happened to actually post. Okay. So that DJ guy, you guys have probably, well, people that, if there's anyone out there that does regularly watch my videos and stuff, or anybody that like currently would flip through like previous videos, there's a dancer friend of mine named Taz that I've done quite a few videos with before. Not a whole lot, but a handful at least. I've done some interviews with her here or there, no, there at the club. Well, usually when I do my videos, I'm at the club. That's why I said here, but I'm actually, yeah, I'm not there right now. So anyway, God, I'm so tired. I'm actually not as tired now that I've been on stream for a while. I'm just still stressed out, and like my brain is all of this is way, way too much for it to process. Like, no wonder my videos can't process properly. My brain can't process things properly either. Like, it's all just too much and too stupid and annoying and obnoxious and confusing, etc., etc., etc. Anyway, so my dancer friend Taz, her and this DJ guy end up going to do a lap dance later in that night, in that shift. And it just so happened that at that same time, normally I really don't do very many lap dances at the club. I'm pretty much just a stage dancer. But every now and then, if somebody asks me for a lap dance and they don't completely freak me out, I will do it. So that did end up happening last night. And it was really weird timing because it was these two people who, let's just say, seemed to be rather eccentric and, you know, kind of like alternative, such as myself. So yeah, I'm not going to elaborate. They just, well, anyway, so So I went to do a dance with them. And normally when I do a lap dance, I have a certain spot that I prefer to do it from, like a certain booth. But this time, another dancer's shoes were in front of that spot, which we're not supposed to take our shoes off in the club. But I guess obviously not everyone follows the rules. Anyway, so normally I would try to go to that spot, but again, it was kind of just like stuff was in the way. So, and also though, because there were two people that I was going to do the dance for, in the room for the lap dances, all of the chairs are for one person, except there are two spots where they're double wides, I guess, like a love seat where you can fit two people. So there's two of those. There's one on one side, and then there's like a thing in the middle, and then there's another one on the other side. So Taz and this DJ guy, they went to one on one side. And again, because I was dancing for two people, and my normal spot was blocked on top of that, I kind of felt like I had no choice but to go to the other double wide, like love seat kind of thing that was adjacent to where Taz and this guy were doing their dance. But at least the DJ was facing away from me, like, so he couldn't see me back there pretty much, which at least helped with that. But it was kind of this weird situation after that, because out of the two people that I was dancing for, one of them, towards the end of the lap dance, they asked me if I knew anywhere that they could get an illegal substance. So I don't do stuff like that, and I never have. I used to smoke weed. Other than that, I've never really, I've been sober for a while now. Yeah, even from weed, I haven't smoked weed for a while. But, so, how did I want to try to word this? I have to be careful with how I say this part, especially, but... Okay, so the DJ guy that was right on the other side of us, he was right on the other side, and he was rumored to, I had heard rumors from other people, actually, okay. I kind of heard from him too, but mostly just rumors. That he maybe did dabble, anyway, so how can I put this? I heard rumors that he used to dabble with stuff like that. Nobody knows who I'm talking about except for, maybe if Taz is watching this, she would know who I'm talking about. Anybody else, I don't think would. Although lately, I have been wondering if that DJ guy is the one to mess with my phone. And I was saying that in my video yesterday, but when I was saying that in my video yesterday, I was like, because this guy was, he did say a lot. He talked about how he was really good with computers and knew computer code. So he was like a computer guy, this DJ. And I was saying that in my video yesterday where I was like, my phone has been acting up for a while, but it's been especially bad like this past week and then last week as well. But I was like, well, it's really weird that I would see that guy at the club 3 nights in a row this week, and also been having all these issues with my phone this week, especially. But then another detail about that I forgot to mention, which should be pretty obvious, so yesterday's video posted okay, but then the one before that was cut short again. And at the part where it was cut short, it was right when I was starting to go back to talk about that DJ guy. So it was at that exact time when I was going back to talking about him, that's when it cut off. So that kind of adds into this whole feeling that I'm getting where it's like, is he the one messing with my phone all this time? Or anyway, so, and he's also, I drove to go try to talk to him after he stopped working at the club. And again, he would always get, like, he really just seemed to despise me and not like me, but I really liked working with him, and I wanted to try to, like, reach out to him, because when he did stop, like, when he eventually stopped working at the club for good, it was because I'm pretty sure he had gotten fired, and I felt bad, and I wanted to try to like reach out and talk to him, and I drove to go see him, which was like a half-hour drive, which for me is a long drive. And when I did that, he threatened to call the cops. So that's like a big part of why I don't bother to try to say hi to him when I do see him at the club and stuff. I just try to avoid him because I don't want to upset him, because he's just always seemed very like agitated and upset by me in the past. So he was on the other side of the booth when these guys are asking me about that stuff. Like, do you know where to get this kind of stuff? And I don't think the DJ could hear us, or this previous DJ guy. I wish I could actually say names, but again, I'm not saying a name, so I should be able to talk about this, because other than Taz, if Taz even, I highly doubt even Taz would watch this, but other than her, I can't think of it, her or him. Other than her or him, which, like, what are the chances of that? But anybody else watching this, how would they possibly know who I'm talking about, especially if I'm not using their name? But anyway, so he was rumored to dabble in that kind of stuff. And I was, like, kind of almost tempted to, like, be like, oh, well, I think he might know a thing or two about that. But, you know, I didn't want to be like that. I didn't want to do anything at all. I'm always trying to, like, not do stuff that could upset that guy. So... but then this guy offers me $100. He's like, I'll give you $100 if you can tell me, if you can find me anything like that. And this, okay, by the way, these guys they did not look like they were undercover cops. So I don't think there was any chance that that was like why they were asking me this. I will say, because also there were two of them, but I will say, if these guys were undercover cops, they were the best undercover. They were coming across as the best undercover disguise that they possibly could have had, because they did not seem like cops, okay? So I wasn't as worried about that, but I still would try to err on the side of caution for that kind of stuff. But then when they offered me $100 for that kind of thing, I was like obviously more tempted to just be like, yeah, the guy that's literally right on the other side of us, you might want to talk to him. So I was tempted to say that, but I held back. I did not. $100, mind you, that might not be a lot to some people, but for me, every penny counts. I really don't, again, I don't really do lap dances there at the club very often. I hardly make any money at all there at the club. I'm just that dancer that goes on and does all these pole tricks and never gets tipped a single dollar most of the time. So yeah, I'm living off of savings from another job in the past. So every dollar, every penny counts like a lot to me. And, oh, that'll actually get me into my next topic in a minute probably. But so, I mean, I'm scrounging for every little thing I can get usually. I mean, but at the same time, like, I really avoid most of the guys there in the club. So it's like, yeah, I could probably make more money there if I was willing to put up with more crap and more creepy guys, but I just don't want to with that kind of stuff usually. It's just, I don't want to push my boundaries, like, you know what I mean? I don't want to, a lot of guys there just give me the creeps, so thankfully not all of them, definitely not all of them, but a lot do. So anyway, so just being honest, but yeah, so when they offered me that $100, also $100 is more than the price of the lap dance I was doing for them. So it was like 3 times as much as the money that I was getting for the lap dance. So I was like, well, maybe, you know, it was tempting, but especially since that DJ guy was literally right there. But then I was just like, no, I did hold back. I didn't do it. I didn't say anything. I was even thinking about maybe just telling Taz to tell him. Like, also to try to help out that DJ guy, though. I don't know why I would want to do that, but I don't know. I mean, it's good for business, because the more money the DJ guy makes in some way, shape, or form, maybe the more likely he is to come back into the club and keep getting lap dances with Taz and keep putting money into the club and the place that I work at. So it's good for business. You know what I mean? I wanted to think. But I was like, maybe I should just try to, like, tell Taz this, like, behind the scenes later. But I didn't even see her later on, because this was towards the end of the night at this point. So yeah, I resisted. I didn't say anything. I really try to avoid doing anything that might make that DJ guy upset, because he's always seemed to get so upset with me in the past with stuff. But anyway, so I took the high road there, I want to think, or tried to. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. I can't even see I can't even see this paper right now, you guys. I'm so sorry. I apologize. And I know you guys can hardly really even see me right now. So yeah, I'm sorry. The timing with things for me is always so great because lately, because I've been having so many issues with my phone, I wrote down a bunch of my passwords on one of the papers that I have my notes on. Not this one, but with the timing with that, I was accidentally showing that on some of my videos recently. And of course, like a lot of my videos, so many parts of them will be like staticky, or like parts will get cut out, or like this time of year, like a lot of it will be in the dark. Go figure, the times where I've accidentally had the papers with the passwords written down, those times it came in crystal clear right there on the screen, like perfect vision. The screens were like this, you could see it perfectly. It wasn't dark. Those parts didn't get cut out, go figure. No pixelation issues, like crystal clear image at those exact specific times. And that's, again, there's no way that's a coincidence. It's just not. Maybe I wouldn't have to write down my passwords in the rest of my notes if I didn't have to worry about my phone messing up in every little random weird way. Like a couple weeks ago, last week, I couldn't access the notes in my phone, which that's where I originally had my passwords. I couldn't access my pictures. I couldn't access my phone contacts. So I had to go and like try to write everything down on paper as best I could, on top of all the other notes that I already have for other stuff in my videos and all of that crap. Excuse me. So yeah, great timing, right? Yeah, it's fun. I can't even see this paper, so I don't want to put a light on because I look so bad in the car lighting when it's dark. How about I do this? This one does not have, this paper doesn't have my passwords, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, there we go. Sorry. Hopefully that's working. And you guys can't see my ugly face right now. I'm just very lighting specific, okay? I apologize. I can only look somewhat decent, or think that I do, in very specific lighting and very specific angles, and this is not it. This is not the lighting that I need to have. So, sorry. Yeah, that's not good. All right, no, you guys, that will mean that I hate this. That's a reason I won't like the video. If I look, the worse that I look, the less I'll like the video. So normally this part of the video, if the whole thing's not already muted, that's one thing. Like that, okay, that's the first, but then a lot of times lately, it's the ends of my video that are getting shut off or like cut out. So if I look like complete crap right now towards the end of the video, maybe it's less likely that this will be cut out because I look like complete crap. So they'll want to keep it in. The worse that I look, remember what I was saying earlier? Anybody? I should put the comments back on, like the live comments for these videos sometime in the future. That could get fun at this point. I've had such horrible comments in the lives before. But at this point, everything's just a stupid joke to me. Like, it's more and more so. Every passing day, it's just like more and more of a joke where it's like, who cares? Like, I don't care about anything anymore. I do, but I don't, right? That's what I say. All right, I'll just leave that on. I don't care. Yeah. I want to look as bad as possible so that maybe this will actually stay in. And I don't have to say this all over again. So, like, what else can I do? That's bad. I need there we go. That's bad. That's bad lighting. All right, so this sucks, but let's put this theory to the test. You guys, all right, so I know I sound crazy, the stuff that I say, but just as an example, right? And this is definitely something I could talk about in my next video. The worse that I look, this is the theory that I have, the worse I look, the more likely it is that the footage will be kept. I should just take out my password paper and just put it right up to the camera. Here's my passwords, guys, and here's me in the worst lighting I can find right now. All right, so let's get into our next topic. So we'll test out this theory. At least I can see the paper now. So yeah, clearly the smoke issue that I was having with the smoke stuff on at the club, clearly from what I was just saying all throughout this video, that was pretty much being used off and on all throughout different points, all throughout that shift. And to where, yeah, it's just very difficult for me to try to keep it straight in my head. So, wow, that's really scary. Because I look like a vampire, didn't I? Like a mentally handicapped vampire. I have black wigs. I could put a black wig on. This whole thing will just be muted instead. They'll be like, never mind, mute. But then that's good too, because then then people will be less likely to be able to watch this crappy footage back where I look this awful. Hey, want to know my passwords? Let me just shout out my passwords. This is my password to my YouTube. If anyone wants to delete all my videos, read my password. I really am fed up at this point, obviously. I'm fed up by stuff, yeah. It's been that way for a while, but it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse and worse. I can't wait I want to wrap this up. So yeah, rather than going to the gym today, like I wanted to try to tell myself I was going to do, I ended up buying all of this expensive, okay? It came to $60 between Walmart and the Dollar Tree. The Dollar Tree, you guys. I ended up spending $60 between the two. I ended up getting all of this crappy, not cheap, expensive, crappy junk food instead. And originally in this video, I was even thinking about doing like a Walmart haul and showing what I got. But obviously I'm not going to bother to do that now when this video is already, what, 2 hours? Almost 2 hours? It's about to be 2 hours pretty soon. So anyway, let's just wrap this up finally. Oh, okay. So another thing about my videos being messed with, I was saying earlier in this video how the radio on my car has been going off and on randomly sometimes. Also, when I do my videos, like my live streams, I switch from the Wi-Fi to my 5G because my phone carrier told me that it would probably help with the connection. So with my videos, like with me having so many issues with a lot of my streams not fully uploading and the end parts of them being cut out, to try to prevent that, because I really can't seem to figure out like what's causing it, but to just try to do something like, I was trying to leave the 5G on for a longer period of time after I finished my streams. I was like, all right, well, rather than just, because what I used to do in the past, like not that long ago, I used to immediately switch from the 5G back to the Wi-Fi after my stream had ended. And then as the issue with things getting cut short more and more, like continued to be more and more of an issue for me, eventually, pretty recently, I was like, well, let's just try to keep the 5G on for a longer period of time after my stream ends, to try to keep the connection stronger while the stream was being processed and uploaded as an actual video to my channel, or as that was supposed to be happening. So I was doing that for a while, and then yesterday, so you know how my video uploaded properly yesterday finally for a change? It's interesting because that time, when after I checked on it at the club, I went back and I checked on it under the watch later section. That's the only way that I can check on my videos after I do them, by the way, like unless I wait to go to my laptop later on, like after my shift. If I'm still at the club, like I usually am, I can't watch them right from the same section. I have to save it separately into a watch later section and look at them that way. Very strange. So when I did that, after I did that and saw that, again, amazingly and shockingly and surprisingly, that video had actually posted fully and properly with audio, that's that's usually after I check on them, that's when I'll go back and switch back from the 5G back to the Wi-Fi. So I went to do that after seeing the video was okay. And when I did that time, it had already switched by itself. I didn't do it that time. It was already back on the Wi-Fi, just magically by itself. And interesting how it happened with that when that video was one of the rare ones from lately that actually did okay. So that's the second time that that's happened. There was one other time that I can remember that happening recently. I don't remember when exactly, but I know that it was recent. And I can't remember if that video posted properly or not. But anyways, so again, things just do what they want. My phone, especially, just someone, something else, possibly multiple people, they're just having a blast, just doing whatever they want with my stuff. It's great. It's great. Do other strippers deal with this stuff, or is it just me? I will probably always wonder and never really know, like so many other things, but I do wonder. I wonder and I wonder and I wonder about it. So yeah, the smoke was going off and on throughout the night many times. And so it was off for a little while, back to being off. Then, oh, okay, actually, so I was just talking about how that DJ guy and my dancer friend Taz had been doing that lap dance. And then I was doing a lap dance for the two other people that asked me about the illegal substance. Right after I got out of the lap dance room, after that, I noticed that the smoke was back on. So I kind of just went like behind the scenes to just try to avoid it until it was my time to go back on stage again. And then when it was my turn to go back on stage again, I went over to the DJ booth, and this was my first time asking this female DJ to pause it while I went on stage. I had never asked her before, because up until recently I thought that she didn't put it on and she didn't like it, because that's what she had told me in the past. I don't know, but so I went over to the DJ booth and I asked her for the first time to pause it while I was on stage. I made sure to say pause and not shut off, just pause it, please. And she was like, oh, she was like, is it on? And she looked over her shoulder to where it was, and she was like, I didn't even know it was on. She was like, I hate the smoke. And I was like, yeah, that's what I thought you had told me before. I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking, you know, because she had. And so that was just, again, very confusing. This past week, it's been used most of the other Sunday. I don't think it was, which before in the past, Sunday was one of the nights of my shifts where it would be used in comparison to other ones. This is all very mind-boggling to me. Yes, it's a blast. So other than Sunday this week, though, Sunday this week was the only night that I don't think it was used, whereas the past 3 nights it was, and I could never really try to pinpoint like who was actually putting it on. I honestly think, I really at this point especially, I really feel like all of the employees at the club are in cahoots. Like they're all gang stalkers, I guess, or whether or not they actually are, they're definitely, they seem to be in cahoots against me or just messing with me. Maybe they're just like Sims or apps controlled by sadistic rich people to just entertain themselves. Again, like this isn't just me being crazy, although a part of it might be, but this day and age, like, come on, like think of the technology that we have, and then the technology that a lot of the general population doesn't even know about. Like, you don't think there's technology out there that most people aren't being told about? Like, come on. Even the stuff that we are being told about, it's like already mind-blowing enough. So anyway, whatever. No, let's just call me crazy instead, because that's just more fun. That's just easier. Like, there aren't already like many movies about females being gaslighted. Like, that's like an archetype and a trope and like a very common theme in popular culture and movies as well. as well as the popular themes in stuff like popular culture for like science fiction and technology being used to mess with people. Like, no, I'm coming up with all this by myself. It's not like it's already all been out there for decades and decades, like in media and culture. Anyway, it's all my own fault. I believe in solipsism. It's all just in my own individual, never mind. My individual, do I have a brain? Am I just a computer? What's going on? What's happening? Oh, it's fun. But also, back to that thought, that female DJ and the guy DJ that I was talking about for most of this video, they're both in comedy. They both do like stand-up stuff. So that makes me think even more, like maybe they just know each other behind the scenes and they're like in the comedy scene together. So, you know, yeah, maybe like that DJ guy kind of told her about my issue with the smoke, because I never have with her. Like we had talked about it kind of casually, where she told me that she didn't like it. And I kind of casually mentioned that I didn't either, but I didn't like fully tell her like just how much I despise it and how allergic I am to it. I don't think I even told her that I was allergic to it at all. I think I just kind of casually mentioned that I didn't like it, because it was a very casual kind of brief like thing that we talked about many weeks or months ago at this point. But yeah, anyways, now I'm kind of like wondering, like, did he tell her something so that she can mess with me with it too? Or I don't know. But yeah, I do kind of also get more of a feeling that people at the club might have seen my YouTube. Like, I don't think that Taz would have told anybody. I mean, I definitely asked her not to. Her and my other dancer friend Paris are the only ones that know about my YouTube that I'm aware of, as far as like people that have specifically told about it. Because yeah, they've both been on my channel before in videos. And so I did tell them about it, but I specifically asked both of them not to tell anybody else about my channel. So I don't think that either of them would, although obviously I could be wrong, like you never really know with people or anything, but I don't think that they would. But I do get more and more of a vibe that a lot of people seem like they might. I don't know. There was also this floor host that made a comment the other day. I forget exactly what it was. I was really trying hard to remember what it was, but I really can't. But he said something that very specifically I had said in one of my videos, and I think it was the video that I had done earlier that day, or very recently. I had just said something in a very recent video, possibly, yeah, that one from that same day, and then he said that same phrase that I had said, or that I had used in that video. And the way that he looked at me when he said it, I wish I could remember what it was. Oh my gosh, I really can't though. My brain is already too boggled with all of this crap, you know. But yeah, I definitely got that weird vibe then that he was possibly aware of, because he's also kind of like very actively tried to, I don't know if hitting on me is the word, because I'm never able to consider myself as anywhere near close to desirable to anybody else. So it's so difficult for me to imagine being hit on by somebody. Like, I don't think that ever happens. Or I get people being like older guys sometimes being creepy towards me, but I wouldn't consider it hitting on me. I think it's more just trying to like creep me out and like get under my skin and annoy me. Or like, yeah, freak me out, like kind of thing. But so with this floor host, they try to talk to me a lot. Like they very actively try to initiate conversation with me, like not every time they see me, but a lot. And I'm just not used to that kind of thing from guys, or from anybody really. But it's just so foreign to me. Like I'm just so not used to that kind of thing that I don't really know how to interpret it. I'm kind of just, I mean, he's fun to talk to and he seems like a pretty cool guy. He did give me some weed for free a few months back. And I think it was maybe around the time of my birthday. I still haven't smoked it, which I'm kind of amazed by, or very amazed by. But so yeah, he's nice. He seems pretty chill. But I'm not really sure how to interpret his intentions or like why he tries to talk to me so much. But when he made that comment that reminded me of something I had said in one of my very recent videos the other day or other night, I just kind of got that weird kind of like sneaky suspicious, like, oh, like why, that's weird, you know? But anyway, yeah, it's just really, it's been so stressful and confusing to me at that club for so long already, but lately it's just really it seems like it's really escalating lately. But I've tried so hard in the past to get over my issue with the smoke stuff, like my allergy. But I've mentioned before, there's been so many inconsistencies with it to where it's like, you know, I never know if it's going to be used or not. And they have different brands, like different versions of it. So I seem to be allergic to all of them, but different versions of it will cause different reactions for me. So like lately, when I've been exposed to it more in a shift or during a time, I've had worse symptoms than I have right now. Like last week or a few weeks ago when it was being used while I was there, I was getting really bad headaches. Or even this week that was happening too, like just a few days ago, like literally like the day before. But so you can probably hear me sniffing right now. I am stuffed up. Like it always stuffs me up, but like there's other kinds in the past where I've actually started dripping from the nose mid-conversation at the club, like talking to a guy or trying to. So this version that they've been using lately, luckily, that doesn't seem to happen. Like I haven't been dripping at the nose while I'm at the club lately, which is nice. I have been getting headaches, but I don't have a headache today. So again, I did just the other day, but I don't have one today, so that's good. And anyway, again, sometimes my symptoms are worse than others. So really, I would prefer to just try to limit my exposure to that stuff as much as I possibly can. And that's been what I've been trying to do for the most part for a while. Every now and then, though, when my symptoms are maybe a little bit less severe than other times, I will try to push past it as best I can. Just because it seems like, yeah, the management at the club, I do worry sometimes that it kind of seems like they're trying to just like use that stuff against me to force me into doing the day shifts with like these guys that I try to avoid. And that really don't seem to like me anyways. Like they've never tipped me, that's for sure. So, but yeah, I just don't like the day shift vibes most of the time. It just creeps me out, honestly. So, I mean, I don't have regulars though, and I honestly don't want regulars. At least I don't want the regulars that I've seen. It's hard for me to put this in a good way. I'm very tired, and this is the end of my video, or it's gonna be pretty soon. I'm trying to like rush through the rest of this. Like I'm always trying to rush through my videos because I'm trying to keep them not as long, and I can't seem to do it. They're just always so long. And then it's like I'm thinking that this is going to be cut out anyway, so it's like it's really difficult for me to try to choose my words wisely right now. You know what I mean? Because it's like I've already been saying so much, and it's like I'm just so overwhelmed and my brain is just not functioning properly. Like, oh, I'm so tired. Anyways, so other times I try to fight through that, like, you know what I mean? Just not let them win. Like, I'm too talented as a dancer, and I work too hard to maintain my athletic abilities, at least enough in the sense to where I can still go on the pole and still do pole tricks in the way that I do. So I'm not gonna just give that up and just wave the white flag and just go back to doing day shifts all the time. Like, there's no way. That's just not gonna happen. So yeah, I will occasionally try to push past that big issue that I have with the smoke stuff when I feel like I'm a little bit more able to. Like, if I'm not having the nosebleeds and if I'm not dripping from the nose as much, if it's just me being stuffed up, the headaches really bother me. But I guess what I'm trying to tell myself now is that because up until this past week, I thought that the female DJ that I had been working with for a while during the slower nights, I thought that she didn't want to use the smoke because she told me she didn't like it and it was the slower nights. But now, just with the weird details with how things have been going this week with that, I can't tell if she's been the one putting the smoke on or not. I really can't. It's just all so weird and confusing to me, to where I'm like, well, maybe I should just suck it up or attempt to suck it up yet again, like I've tried before at previous different times in the past. Maybe I should just not go back, but maybe I should just also occasionally try to work weekend nights again. Like, rather than just being so set in like doing Sunday through Wednesday night, like all in a row like that, maybe I could also occasionally try to do a Thursday or a Friday or a Saturday night, or even just start with Thursdays, just, you know what I mean, here and there, just to see how it goes. Because yeah, the female manager that I asked about it, she told me that they were still using the smoke a lot those nights, but I have heard from other dancers that they weren't occasionally. So I won't really be able to get more of a feel for that without me actually daring to push myself to go in for one of those shifts myself and actually just try it out, you know. Again, I do pay to work there, but that's going to happen anytime that I'm not doing a day shift or a Sunday shift. Day shifts and Sundays, if you get there right at open, like before we open, that's the only time that the house fee is waived. Any other shift, you're paying to be there. So yeah, but anyway, I had actually tried to go in for a Thursday shift not that long ago. I didn't end up actually doing it, but I remember I had gone out to the grocery store and done a video earlier that day. And then I was originally thinking I might go to the club to do a Thursday night shift after that, but I just didn't end up actually, doing it. But the intention was there, to where I was like maybe gonna try to push myself, because I think that was after I had heard from other dancers about the smoke not being used on that night as much. And so that was in between me asking about it and hearing that from other people, but before I had asked the female manager about it, and she had given me the opposite answer. So at that point I was kind of like, well, maybe I could, but now at this point I'm like, well, just forget it. Like, just completely scratch that part out. Like, I'm just going to pretend that part doesn't even exist as a factor anymore. Like, obviously that's very difficult to do and really not possible, but I'm just going to lie to myself yet again and just try to try to do it anyways, you know? Because yeah, I'm just so sick and tired of them being able to like control me this way and like take advantage of me this way and like influence my decisions as far as like how and when I feel able to work at the club and stuff. Like, I just don't want that to be as much of a factor anymore, because it's been such a big factor for so long, and I've just been sick of that for so long. And it's another one of those works in progress, I guess, for me. Like, just, I've already tried to push past it so many times in the past, but I'm just gonna try to just keep trying at it. I don't know. But anyway, so I think the last thing I'm gonna say for this right now, gosh, I want to try to wrap this up on a positive note, even though most of the end of this probably will be cut out anyways. Who knows? Who knows? I guess I'll find out later at some point, maybe. Oh, but look, you guys, I really did intend to go to the gym today, because I even put my sports bra in my backpack. But I never got around to really doing that, obviously. But anyway, so at the end of my shift last night, and I had been very tempted to leave earlier last night, like just kind of give in to like the situation, and just right when the smoke first came on, I was like, maybe I should just leave, So I am tempted to do that a lot when this is going on, this kind of thing, but I didn't. I stayed the entire night instead, all the 10 hours, like I intend to do. And I was very proud of myself for that. And at the end of the night, So for this past week, honestly, this might have even been there from last week, although I'm not too sure, but I know that there's been this dollar bill stuck in the cubby above this near the stage. I've mentioned this in a few of my other videos. This happens sometimes where dollar bills will get stuck in this area that's near the stage, but very difficult to reach. And the only way that I can reach it is by standing on a chair, and not just standing on the chair, but like standing on the arms of the chairs. So balancing one foot and one leg on either armrest of the chair and then reaching up onto this ledge and like pulling myself up to grab them. You'd have to see it to really, understand what I'm trying to say. But yeah, there had been a dollar bill stuck up there for definitely all of this week. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm pretty sure, possibly even some of last week. But again, I don't really remember that part as much, but I know it had been there for multiple shifts for me. Normally when I see that kind of thing up there, I will make a point to stand on the arms of the chair at the end of the shift and try to get it. But I had not done that. I was able to resist Sunday, Monday, Tuesday night this week, and again possibly even some of last week when I was there, but I don't really remember that part. Because my wrist had been hurting so bad. My wrist last week was hurting to the point where I had to force myself to stay off of the pole for the entire shifts that I was doing for a few days there in a row, which is really difficult for me to do, And then also this Sunday, I forced myself to stay off the pole for all of my shift on Sunday this week as well. And I did go back on the pole Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. And I'm amazed that my wrists still feel okay right now. Like I really didn't think they would, but they have been. So that is such a blessing and I'm so thankful for that. But yeah, normally I would try to get that extra dollar up there at the end of a shift. But I also, because my wrist had been hurting recently like it had been, I resisted that as well. I didn't go on the pole and I didn't go for that dollar up there. So I just left it up there for nights in a row, which is very difficult for me to do because I'm a child inside. But at the end of last night, I went up there to get it. And last night there was also an additional dollar that was a little bit off to the side of that. So that one was new, and that one was definitely very recent from that particular shift yesterday. That was probably from one of the other dancers getting rained on. So, it's 6:30 on the dot. So yeah, usually most of my shifts, it's like not all the other dancers, but most of the other dancers get tipped very well and they're all being rained on for just being sexy and just doing whatever it is they're doing, like just simple, lying on the floor, just being sexy. And then, I don't really get tipped usually. So no matter how many pole tricks I do or how not ugly I try to get myself to look with the right lighting and angles, at least, like nothing seems to work for me there. Never has. So anyway, I got that dollar, okay? That's my point. I was not able to get the second dollar. So I stood on the chair at the end of the shift last night. Finally, I'm going to get that dollar. Like I had been waiting and putting it off. My wrist had felt okay, finally. So I was like, all right, now's my time to do it. And yeah, so I stood up. I did get that first dollar that had been the one that was there for like many previous nights and shifts and stuff. I wasn't able to get the new one off to the side because that one was a little further back. I would have kept trying to get it, but pretty much all the employees that had been there that night were like off to the side of the room and noticed what I was doing and like commenting on it. They were like, oh, like that's a liability, and like just kind of, I think they were just joking around. But so then I was like, well, how much of a liability is this compared to me going on the pole though? And they said something like the part about the pole liability, I guess, is like in the contract that I signed, where it's like, I honestly don't know what they said in response, but they said something like that. They're like, that's different. I was like, okay. I was like, I know it's different. Trust me, it's very different. Yes, the pole is much more dangerous. I would know. I'd go on it a lot. Yeah. Basically, I was not able to get the second dollar, but I probably could have if I had felt more comfortable to keep trying, but I was just kind of too embarrassed at that point because, again, they were all commenting and like I felt like I was like they were all just like watching me, and it was like it was again the Tinka show, to where I was like, all right, enough of this, you know. I had been making a fool of myself already, like too much already, all throughout the rest of that, you know, shift and night and stuff. So yeah. But I really didn't care as much about the second one, because the second one, again, was like the recent one just from that shift. That it was the first one that I did end up getting. That's the one that I cared about, because that's the one that had been there for many, many days and nights previously, that I had kept seeing and kept wanting to try to get, but putting off because of my wrist and stuff. But anyway, so my wrists both feel great right now, and I'm just so amazed by that, so thankful for that. And yeah, maybe what I've been trying to tell myself about the smoke being used at the club actually being aerated Advil, maybe there's actually some truth to that. I mean, everything just seems so crazy and confusing and just outlandish to me these days, that it's like, well, plenty of things are possible, right? Like, it could be a possibility. So before I wrap this up, I know that I said that I wasn't going to show what I got at the stores today because this video is already too long anyway, but I just want to show this real quick because I'm so excited. It's obvious I didn't want to get this big of a box, but I couldn't find any smaller ones, and it's always like trying to insult me by like, you don't have a family, but you can be a fat ass and get the family size anyway. Calling all single losers out there. You want to torture yourself even more by trying to not consume an entire family-sized box of cereal in one sitting? by yourself, by your lonely, miserable, single-ass self. But look, it's confetti. And it's not with artificial dyes, which is a big thing for me. I was just saying, I think the other day in my video yesterday, I don't like artificial dyes. So this is colored with the sprinkles for the confetti. It's colored with fruit and vegetable juice, is what it says anyway, whatever that means. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up. God, this lighting really is very bad, obviously, but anyway, so hopefully that helps with the video. Who knows, we are putting that theory to the test tonight, so should be interesting to see how this goes from here. Oh yeah, for sure. Good night. Oh gosh. So I'm just gonna check the timestamp real quick. 143 minutes, I think, just about. I have to write that down because I just do. I'm gonna go for 145 minutes, so sorry, I have to like drag this out a little longer, believe it or not. We're at 143 in a few seconds, so I'm just gonna say 145 because it's easier, but 60 plus 60 is 120. That's 2 hours. Almost 2.5 hours, I think. 2 hours, 25 minutes, I'm pretty sure. So now it's like, do I bother after I end this in a few minutes, or a couple minutes, in 1 minute, less than 1 minute, the countdown, oh my gosh. After I end the stream, should I bother to switch my 5G? Should I bother to keep the 5G on for a while to try to have it processed properly? When I was saying earlier how it just switched back to Wi-Fi on its own anyways. With the video yesterday that did post okay, like, Decisions. Well, I guess I can at least check it. Let's check it right now. No, let's not. Sorry. I am gonna at least check it after to see if it's still on the Wi-Fi or the 5G. I'm assuming it probably is still on the 5G right now. And then I'm gonna say I'll probably keep it on the, just in case, I will try to keep it on the 5G. It's 6:37, so almost 6:40. I'm gonna try to keep it on the 5G until like 8 o'clock. So just give it like a little over an hour. Obviously, if it switches back to the Wi-Fi on its own, that's one thing, that's whatever. But I am manually, like myself, gonna try to keep it on the 5G for at least over an hour, since this video is apparently almost 2.5 hours. That's the best I can do for that. Other than that, other than making the ugly faces, like most of my faces are ugly, but especially now and with this lighting. So between that and trying to keep the 5G on for a little while after this, hopefully it posts, I don't know, we'll find out. But it says that I have 3 viewers right now and 13 likes. So I want to thank you guys for that, and to other people out there that might eventually watch this and watch me from time to time. Oh, now there's 4 viewers. Hello. Gosh. So obviously the rubber band is moved right now, but this is why I cover it usually with the rubber band. Oh, back to 3. Like, what? Oh, being live is so weird. Anyway, so thanks for watching, and hope people out there are well. I will probably try to come back on the Sunday if I can. Or at least next week at some point, right? So until next time, bye for now. Peace out. Peace out and good night.